The ROI of blogging. The return of investment of blogging. That is our topic for today. Money, because that's what most people would be coming to talk about or think, but this is something that is actually going to help you become better if you look at the long-term effect of blogging and what blogging does for you as a business in 3 categories. There's going to be time, money, and energy. Those are going to be the 3 ingredients for today's topic. And welcome, Hussein. Good morning. Glad to have you here. It's been a while. Nafise, Pimpy, Mabel, and everyone else coming in the room. I appreciate you all for being here. And I hope you guys can hear me because my Clubhouse is a little janky. It's like it shows the bar and then it doesn't show it. So if you can't hear me, just let me know in the chat so I can repeat myself. But I don't want to miss out on anybody that's listening. So let me know if anything breaks in between. But yeah, let's talk about this today. The ROI of blogging. Blogging is one thing that a lot of people don't like to do. Some love to do it. Some need to do it. Some don't. It's like a whole lot of question marks. But we're going to demystify this today. Why the ROI of blogging is going to be positive or negative for you, depending on what you do. Hey, Rocky. Good morning.
Great morning.
I can't hear you. Is it me?
You can't hear me? Hold on. Wait. Can you hear me? Is
Because
it
it's like
better?
when you speak, I can't hear anybody on stage. So something
Oh,
is going on. Let me leave and come back.
I thought it was me. I had to bring Hassan up. I was like, can you hear? Is it me or is it him? Can you hear us now?
No,
Yes.
yes, I can hear. I heard you the whole time, Rocky, and I can hear you too, Favour.
Oh, awesome. I don't know what it is because when you came up on stage, Rocky, I couldn't hear what you said. So I was like, did I hear? So I had to leave and come back. And that's when I heard you properly. How y'all doing? Happy September.
You made it.
Happy September. No,
So,
I was saying you're talking about a subject I hate, and you know that.
I know. I know, Rocky. I know you're one person that does not like blogging because you're like, why? I can just talk. I can just. It's also being transcribed. Think about it. Even here on Clubhouse, there's a feature that we don't use. I don't know if this feature is still. Yeah, this feature is still here on Clubhouse. If you hit the top 3 dots on the top right of your screen, I don't know if you're using Apple or Android, but if you see the top 3 dots, hit that, and then you scroll down on your section and you should see something like show captions. I don't know if everyone's going to see that, but as I'm speaking, captions are being auto-generated. The same thing with YouTube, the same thing with TikTok, the same thing with Instagram, the same thing with LinkedIn, the same thing with your website. So the ROI of blogging is, thank you for the thumbs up, Nafise. The ROI of blogging is based on 3 components. That's why I talked about the ingredient mix of time, money, and energy. If you don't have the time to do it, but you have the money to delegate it, great. If you have the energy for it, you can, contain that and connect to the person that you're doing it with, or you can let them handle it. If you don't have the time, if you don't have the money, and if you have the energy, which I believe you should, then you can use that energy to research about how you could also benefit from blogging, or a better way to even put it, so I can give you a practical example to know if I need to do it or if you need to do it, is go to google.com and then in the search box, put in blog/topic. Whatever topic you want to insert, put the topic there. Whether it's your industry, your business, what you talk about, what you keep bringing up within your industry, within your community, if it's a topic of interest, put those words, make it 2 to 3 words. Don't make it too long, but just be specific with your focus key phrase or your focus keyword. Then when you put that down, whether it's social media tips or educational systems or how to cook chicken, how to fry an egg, whatever you want to do, you put that into that search box, and then what you get is going to be a list of blogs that Google recognizes that talk about what you want to write about or already have published what you're intending to publish. So when you use that blog / you see a lot of things on Google. When you see those results, you're going to see results from 2022, 2023, 2024, and of course 2025. And when you do that, you not see an AI mode response. That's something you won't see, because when you search on Google, you get Google Gemini, you get AI mode, you connect, right? But if you do blog / you cut out all those other filters and you're just focusing on blogs. Another hack I can give you, because this is blogging and I'm talking about these things because if you don't see them on your website, then if you don't see yourself on that listing, then that means that your competitor is on that map and not you. It's a sitemap. Google has a sitemap, just like you have a sitemap. So if you now type in there, for example, product-page or product / and then put in your product, you can see all the products that are being listed on Google. So what you're doing, we're talking about prompting and ChatGPT prompting, AI prompting. Prompting has been happening before AI started. So if you're looking at prompting and even using, they call them search operators. For example, you can do cite, SITE, full colon, not a semicolon, a full colon. Then don't know spaces, put your domain, space, and then in quotation marks, put the keyword of the same focus. So when you do blog / that, and then you do site colon your website with the same topic, and you see your website there, but you don't see your page on the listing, that also says a lot about where you're positioned. If you have a keyword that matches both, you could see yourself on that surface where you're able to say, okay, did I have 2 blogs? Did I have 3? Did I have 5 different things? Did I have 1 that was an ultimate guide? And what am I saying compared to what other people are saying? Did I cover all the areas of focus that people need to make an informed decision about what they are reading? Because people are not just reading. They're reading to understand. They're reading to take action. They're reading to apply. So if you're able to give people application from the jump, that's going to allow them to know how to respond back. So the ROI is the time you're investing in updating content that you first published. When September. By this time last year, you probably had some blogs that you published. It's good to update them to today's date, because with AI right now, AI is looking for last mod, which means last modified, which means last modified date, which also means last modified date that you published and updated your webpage. So when you have a last mod and that last mod is turned into a tokenization, in other words, you're creating a duplicate copy from the original, which is off your website, to Google because you've indexed it to Google Search Console, whether through manual or auto indexing. What happens is that all the responses that come back to your website are going to allow you to increase that time efficiency and double it. Like for you, Rocky, if you don't like blogging, you can talk about stuff here on Clubhouse or on a microphone or anywhere where you want to record, even in school. And when you're done, take that MP3, put it into notebooklm.google.com, get all the frequently asked questions, get the summary, take that summary, put it into ChatGPT or DeepSeek or, make it comprehensive, and then turn that into a newsletter. I do that with my newsletter. I literally take my episode, turn it into a newsletter, do all the frequently asked questions about the episode. So when they fully understand what the concept of the topic is, they can now listen to the episode with an understanding. So it's like educating them before they even receive the experience. So, and the experience is also within the education. So it's kind of like a yin yang effect. But when you do it like that, it just makes things have a snowball effect. Let me say it that way. So what are your thoughts, Rocky? And then I'll also come to you, Hassan, as well on, the topic for today.
Oh, I never thought about that. Yeah, anyway, that's lazy that can get me to where I want to go, I'm down for. So yeah, I love that.
I have a follow up question. What are your thoughts? And forgive the noise, I'm outside. What are your thoughts about using ChatGPT or whatever the large language model is as the primary author? Do you think these models are good enough that with a well crafted prompt, I can pretty much take it and post it? Or do you think the best practice is, or is it a better practice to take a pretty good prompt and use whatever they give me as a first draft, but me as the blogger should still put my hand on it? Where do you find that balance?
Ooh, that's a great question. The balance for me and what I see these days is that if you are using at least, I can say 1 to 2 traditional search engines, so let's say Google and Bing, and then you're using anywhere between 1 to 3. It doesn't have to be all three, but it could be between 1 to 3 search engines that are answer search engines or AI search engines. So, and actually, let me split into 3. Let me make it even better. So, one would be Google or Bing, that's traditional. Answer engine would be like Siri, Alexa, Cortana. What are the others? There's Google. And then that's for voice purposes, voice search. And that's more of an answer engine response. Then you now have the AI response, the artificial intelligence response, which is now the ChatGPT, Perplexity, Cloud. So if you take 1 to 3 of each section and you're trying to find the balance on one topic, you go to Google, you ask the same question on Bing, you ask the same question to Alexa, you ask the same question to Siri, you go and ask the next same question to ChatGPT, you ask the next question to Perplexity. When you get the responses from all those, you might notice that, because I don't know what you see, but you might notice that there's going to be 1 or 2 companies or 1 or 2 businesses or 1 or 2 brands, 1 or 2 websites that will be consistently showing up across the board. And when you see that happening, then you know that that's the brand that all the engines or the search engines respond to. So when you now look at that brand, that's how you're able to know like where in the market are they as far as the leader based on the topic, and how far back did they write about that same topic before the question was asked. So if they wrote that article 2015 or they wrote that article 2025, if they updated that article today, whether it was 10 years ago that they first wrote it or 5 months ago or even 10 days ago that they first wrote it, if they're updating it for the 2025 version, then that's going to show up across the board, because all these search engines, they love to give fresh information, recent information, and quick information. So if you're writing topics and you're using your website to blog and talk about topics, you could be earning passive income from platforms like Google AdSense or Mediavine, because these are platforms that will give you earned, like as far as monetized, earned impressions, because you're driving hundreds of thousands or millions of impressions in a month. So when people are seeing you, just like you watch or go to these news sites, right? When you go to news sites or you go to magazine sites and you see them have, I would say like little blocks of advertisements, which we ignore, most of us do. That in itself is passive, because those are slots that they've placed based on how you interact with your, I would say, social or search experiences online. So if you start seeing like, sunglasses because you like to buy sunglasses, you start seeing sunglasses within that feed. So when people are earning impressions, it's because you're writing content about a topic people are frequently asking. So if people are asking the same question across the board, across all those 3 subsets, then you become the person that people get to connect with consistently, which now makes you the top authority. And then if you're on your page, you now have a link that says book a call, or here's my number, or, email this, or join us, or join our community, or there's even a pop-up that allows them to join you and connect with you. You're inviting them, or you're giving them a red carpet for them to now connect back with you. And if you go to social media and use Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, TikTok, any platform that you're using, even Pinterest, to talk about the same thing, you've given 80% of energy and time into your website, and you're also going to now give 20% of your energy and your time to social media. So by the time you do that balance and you're able to see the difference between the two, you'll realize that the more topics that you answer, the more questions that you answer on our website, that produces more links, the more people get to see you frequently, and the more they get to understand your industry of expertise. And that's how they're able to connect with you on social media, because someone will find you on search or listen to you on some answer machine. And then from there, they'll be like, okay, let me go search and see if I can connect with them on social. That's what naturally people do. They'll see you if they like you. If, let's say, they Shazammed your music, or they saw you at a theater, or they watched you and you're like, oh, this is really nice, let's connect. They'll go to social media first before they go to search. But when people are searching for things that are important to them too, they're going to find brands in the mix. And that's how they're able to mix in with social media, because your social media is already on the search engine like Google. So when you create that balance and that mix, blogging now becomes more effective, because you're answering questions in real time that you can now update over time. Does that help, Husan? Husan, if you're speaking, you're muted, but I hope you're there. And I hope it made sense also to anyone that heard this as well. Maybe as we wait for Husan, Rocky, when you hear this too, how do you see this? Because I know you talked about it on your website and content and repurposing. How are you seeing this now, and what has your experience been so far?
I just wanted to kind of go back a little bit to what Hassan asked. I don't know if you were asking about, like, if he was asking about reach or whatever in terms of using AI. I know the question he asked, but I just wanted to say, because I don't blog, to be clear, I do everything with AI. I just humanize it to make it sound like me. My GPT knows me well. We've been together for a few years. And that's what actually got me found. And I actually got awarded Favour as well as a top marketing agency in Virginia. So I was surprised by that, but it was all because of blogging, and everything, like you told me before, was directed at Virginia businesses, Williamsburg small businesses, and it got me at the top. When you're in Virginia, you search marketing agency, I pop up right away. That's all because of Favour, but all of that was written by AI, and I was still able to be found. So although I do love being my own, I think sometimes, especially as business owners, we do so much that AI is a tool that can help us. And so as long as I continue to be found with AI and it makes it simple for me, I'm going to keep doing it that way because it works.
That's true. I love that. It works because you're planning something out well, and you're also looking at the system from a perspective of giving someone a response to what what they're asking. Like you talked about with Virginia, if they're going to connect with you, then that's because they're also using their desktop or their mobile or their tablet to search. So when they're searching, they're going to find it based on the connections they're making with you, based on where they're located. So they're finding you because their locations are turned on, and because you have a link in your website that also addresses the topic that they're searching on. There's a direct accessible link that they can click on, which they can use to now connect with you directly. So it's those things that we see on Google Search Console when you're asking even yesterday too about like queries and pages. When you have queries on your Search Console, look at them like seeds in a bag. So when you now plant those seeds turn into fruits, they germinate into different things, like mangoes, apricot, pomegranate, guava, grape, whatever it is. You're having different seeds because of different needs, different interests, different flavors, different taste buds. So when you have your website having numbers of queries, let's say you have 30 queries, those 30 queries are questions that people are asking your website. So when you turn those queries into two things, hashtags and URLs, it allows someone to connect back with you because you're using it as a hashtag of interest, because people search by hashtag. I think even Gen Z's search by hashtag. It's a thing now. So if people are searching by hashtag, on LinkedIn, on TikTok, on different, on Instagram, and people are searching by hashtag, if your hashtags are also showing up on Google Search Console and you mash it up, so if it says Virginia social media marketing, you mash it up and put a hashtag before it, now that's a hashtag that you saw in a query, which now is in form of a social link. The same thing you can do and break it apart and actually split it by a separator, which would be a hyphen. So you hyphenate the word, so it will now be Virginia / social / media / marketing. And then before that now is https://www.yourwebsite.com. So that / after is what you've taken from the query that you've now turned into a blog that is now in the form of a hashtag and a URL. So those are 2 counts. So when you're able to do that, you're able to now double up that or compound your interest, because over time, which we're looking at the ROI of blogging, time, money, and energy, you've spent low energy to put a hashtag together, to put a link together. You've spent maybe a little bit of some time, maybe an hour, but the money that you're going to get from that hour you spent is going to yield, because a blog's lifespan is 24 months, at least 24 months. So the investment you're putting in an hour is going to leap over 24 months because you answered one question in form of one link and one hashtag. So it just takes one song. It takes one thing to happen for you to, be seen, be appreciated, be heard, which you already should be because you start with yourself. But when you're able to now know, okay, people are asking me these 30 questions. Okay, how do I turn these 30 questions into 30 links? Okay, I have 30 podcast episodes. Okay, I have 30 blogs. Now I have 30 pages. Now I'm on the internet and now people can find me. And even to Hussein's question too earlier, when you came to like different platforms, there are different LLMs, which is a large language model, and there are 8 of them. There are 8. So when you're using ChatGPT, Grok might not have the same database, yet they're coming from the same data source, but they're going to respond differently based on the user intent. Grok is going to be different from DeepSeek. It's going to be different from Claude, from Perplexity. So when you're looking at all these platforms and LLMs, try them out. Ask the same question throughout all of them, and you can see it. Some people tell me, hey, they're searching for even Clubhouse Plus on ChatGPT and they're finding my blog. I wrote that blog the day Clubhouse Plus went live, and it's still being seen right now because not everybody is talking about it. That's why I'm saying it's so unsaturated that if you just specifically find the niche market that you serve, it makes sense. Just like if you go to Starbucks every day, you should be getting stocks from Starbucks. You shouldn't just be buying Starbucks coffee every day. So when you start thinking differently and you start using your websites to actually turn it into an asset, your time, your money, and your energy will, how do I say this? It will compound in interest over time because you were intentionally serving people first and giving them answers based on queries that they ask the search engines, which is already on your search console. So whether you're using text, blog, or audio, podcast, or video, YouTube, you can bring all those 3 together and put it on your website and consistently let people know about you, which is going to give you the authority over time. So it's something that takes time, which is time effective, time consuming. But when you work with professionals, when you work with agencies, when you work with teams, they can handle that for you. Anyone that does it well can do it well for you. We can do it as well for you. So whoever you're doing it with, let them make sure that they're measuring those things based on reports. And if you can't be able to look at those reports, then there's something wrong, because most people will say, oh yeah, Google Search Console, I don't know what that is. It's like saying, oh, I don't know what this engine on my car does, yet you want to drive the car a couple of miles away from your house. So you have to look at your engine as your response system, so that when people are responding back to you, you're giving them links. That's how I did Clubhouse Plus. Someone was saying, oh yeah, Clubhouse Plus. I saw it on my query, turned that query into a link. Now that link is accessible on the web. So if you turn a query into a link and a hashtag, that if there's nothing you leave with today in today's room, if you turn your query in, what's a query? A keyword, a question. If it is, you can use Answer the Public and Answer Socrates. You can use these platforms to get these questions. You can use Google too. When you turn these questions, these queries into links and hashtags, or hashtags and links, whichever one you use first. And when you think about hashtags and links, hashtags is for social media, links are for search engines. Hashtags are for social media, links are for search engines. So when you're using both of them, it's kind of like putting a switch. You're putting a yin and a yang moment together. You're bringing them together. So when you use the same hashtag on LinkedIn, you have a link to the same hashtag that has the same context within the same text frame, then it's a win-win. So it's a match. When it's a match, the algorithm understands what you're matching with based on intent, based on search. So the more you're able to do that, the better it gets for you. Because every one blog that you even put out on your website, you can get anywhere between 10 to 100 queries. And that number can still exceed way more than that. Because kind of like thinking about it, if you plant a mango seed, you're going to get mango fruit. You're not going to get one fruit. You're going to get 10, 20, I don't know how many. You're going to get a bunch of them. So that's the same thing with your keywords. You plant them, you put them on the website, you let them run, you let them do its thing. You come back later. 24 months is a long time. Imagine you're just online for 24 months straight. You're not paying for any ads because you keep showing up for the same thing. It's a beautiful thing to see, but a lot of us won't see it if we don't take action. But that action needs to be taken to see what I'm talking about. But these are great questions that you're asking Rocky and Hussein as well. John, welcome to the room. Good morning. What are your thoughts on the topic? And what do you think about the ROI of blogging?
I hope everybody's having a great day. And so, for those who don't know, Rocky doesn't know me. Hassan, I don't think so. Um, I have a syndicated talk radio show that broadcasts weekly in 146 affiliate stations across the United States. And then a separate model is the podcast model, website and digital, including social. So, and this is something that I can't take credit for, I have to give it to Favour. When I look at my Google Analytics and I look at blog posts, look at podcast episodes, I've learned to treat them like blog posts. So if I go to my Google Analytics right now, my first 3 episodes are first highest tracking landing pages, according to Google Analytics, are episodes of the podcast. Then I think it's direct. Then it's 3 blog posts that are straight blog posts. And in those blog posts are links to podcasts and other blog posts. So there's a tremendous amount of growth. And by the way, this is a little power tip. I can't take credit for it. I got it from Favour. I use Uber Suggest. There's other search engine tools out there, and I look at keywords. But one of the features they offer with Uber Suggest is who your major competitors are. Then you can look and see what keywords they're getting a lot of action from in your analysis. You can write blog posts based off those keywords. And I'll just give you an example, then I'll wrap up with this. I did an article about 2 weeks ago, straight blog article based off of Uber Suggest, based off of what competitors were getting search engine traffic from on the Zodiac Killer. That is my second highest performing blog post right now as far as developing traffic. So yeah, it works. It works great. Thank you.
Thank you so much, John. Yes, it works. It works. It definitely works. And the best thing about it is that if you do it in a way that the brand is going to benefit, it's a good thing. Because with blogging, another thing that I don't think I've mentioned today, but I will mention this so that I don't forget about this, is when you blog or when you write an article, because some people say as a blog an article, as an article a newsletter, as a newsletter an edition. What is it? It's the same thing. It's just formatted in different ways. So whichever route you take, when you create a blog, attached to that blog always has an author profile. This is something that I haven't touched on really deep, and I want to talk about it for the next 5 minutes. An author profile. When you go to Cosmopolitan, when you go to E! News, when you go to even any news site or social site or anything that you're going to listen to or read on the web, whether it's educational content, inspirational content, whatever form of content it is, there's going to be an author of the content, right? There's going to be an author profile. And I'm not sure if you're aware of this, But if you have a website, that means that the blogs that you publish are going to be coming from an author's profile link. Because when you have a website, whether it's WordPress, Wix, Squarespace, Shopify, whatever it is, all those platforms allow you to create an author profile. So when you create an author profile, and that author profile has your LinkedIn, has your Facebook, has your X, has your threads, whatever you're creating, that author profile now creates a leg up for you. It's an alley-oop, because now within that context, you're able to allow your author profile to show up on the web as a link. And in that link, you have a bunch of links that lead people to pages that you have created because you publish them as an author. So just like you publish books as an author, you publish blogs as an author. So it's the same difference. It's just that one is on the web, another is on a paper or on a book or within a page that you can touch, which is tangible. So when you look at our author profile and you publish your blogs as an author, that means your profile, most people just connect LinkedIn. That also puts you at the top, because if someone's asking a question and they're looking for topical authorities or brands that can actually do this, yours will also be there. So if you don't want to put your name, you can put your company name as the author profile of the blog for your website. That's what we do most times by default, unless you're like a coach or you're a podcaster or someone that you actually want to use your name. Yes, you can do that. But if you just want to keep it company related and just keep it simple, classy, nice, you can also do that too. Either way works perfectly fine. But when you create that author profile and you attach your social connections or your social media links, that allows you to also increase your visibility within the AI servers, because they're looking for authors, they're looking for profiles, they're looking for links, they're looking for content, they're looking for context. So you're creating blogs that answer questions. And these blogs have to be in a way that people can read them, can understand them, and find them as well. Like with LinkedIn, for example, if you write a LinkedIn newsletter, I don't know if you know this, but this is a blogging pro tip. If you write a LinkedIn newsletter and you look at the words on, let me say it this way. Perfect example. If your newsletter says episode 1, season 1, episode 1, introduction to blogging. Okay. Season 1, episode 1, introduction to blogging. Those are 7 words. Now, what happens on LinkedIn is that when you click on settings and you go to manage draft, I think it's within the settings section. When you click on it, there's a way you can actually create a custom title and a custom description for your newsletter. Most people just hit publish on LinkedIn. I go a step further and go deeper into that. I'm just telling you this so that if you're thinking about trying it, please try it out, because this information, you can do it on your own. It's available on the internet. So when you go to that section and you click create URL, if you click create URL, that URL cannot be recreated. That's the thing about LinkedIn newsletters. Unless you delete the whole thing, start afresh, copy, paste, create a new draft, and then create another URL. That's the only way you can recreate another URL for the same content that you may have made a mistake on. So if you did that, it's going to be linkedin.com/pulse/episode -1- or season -1- episode -1- introduction. You see where I'm going? By the time you look at that URL, it has no value. Yes, the value is within the link, but the value from the gate or the value from the jump is not justified because you didn't put the keyword within the URL, which is a uniform resource locator. You put an episode, so people are looking for episodes, it's very scanty. But if you're saying that, okay, this is going to be blogging tips, then it should now be pulse/blogging-tips- whatever else you want to fill in, so that the same title you have within your LinkedIn becomes the same URL that you're going to push out. So when you do that, you can create it that way. Sometimes I do it differently, where I can create I actually did it for my last newsletter. So I'm giving you something I actually did. So the last newsletter on LinkedIn is talking about, let me go there so I can actually give you guys a link to as well. It's the SEO 101 marketing newsletter. So I was talking about the best blogging and publishing practices for new established websites. Now, what I did, and this is going to be a very practical example, because when you look at the link I'm putting in the chat, you'll see what I mean. Perfect. All right. So check the link in the chat. So what you see is www.linkedin.com/pulse/ best blogging publishing SEO practices new websites Favour. Then dash, they usually put unique URLs at the end just to make sure that it's unique to the page. Now, if you click on that link, you will see that the title of the blog or the title of the newsletter is not the same as the URL naming convention, because I first changed it to that, and then I went in to create a URL, created it, then came back to the draft and then updated the title so that whatever I created and printed was the first print or the first information I want people to see. But I want people to read something that they can actually, ask themselves, is this what I'm doing? Because you can see best blogging practices. Okay, that's fine. That's for the internet. That's for the algorithms. But when people are looking for information, it's going to come in the form of a question mark. So that's what I did. And that took a little time. It took no money, and it took not so much of my energy. So when you think about the ROI of blogging, it's low. But the reward is high. Why? Because you get your time back, you make money, and you earn money because you actually connect to Google AdSense, you're connected to Mediavine, you start publishing on other sources, you start getting backlinks, you start getting authority scores, you start actually getting more recognition on AI servers across all of them, because there are 8 of them. It's not just ChatGPT and Perplexity. There are about 8 of them right now that you can actually measure. So when you're using that, you're able to really measure and ask yourself, okay, where are we going with our content? Because blogging is content. We want to write the right content for the right person. We can't be talking about things that are happening previously when we should talk about things that should be happening in the future. So if we're writing content for 2-3 months ahead, that means we're writing content now for October, November, December. Or rather, you're looking at it from the holiday season, category. So right now, if you're running a business, if you're running ads, that's what you're going to be doing to connect to people. Another good ROI of blogging is if you write a blog and you run that blog as an ad, and that blog has an FAQ section or a podcast or a video or an infographic or a table, something that you can actually show. That's how you can also let people know about you, because people will read. And if you give them 3 options, you can either read it, listen to it, or watch it. That's a red carpet for someone to say, this person actually cares about my time. So I'm going to use my time wisely and choose one of them, because one of them is going to give me the information I need within the time I have for this one thing I need to achieve. So everyone is doing something, but people have to block out time for things that they need to do. So that's how you're able to really position it that way. So I wanted to just break this down so that you can see the ROI of the time, the money, and the energy. Now, you can use free tools or you can use paid tools, because most times people say, oh yeah, do I need to buy a tool or pay for a tool to get information? Technically, you get what you pay for it. So, but at the same time, if it's free, use it wisely and know how you can turn that idea, because ideas are free. Implementation is expensive, because you have to implement with your time, implement with money, implement with energy. But those ideas that are running, you can have ideas all day. I'm going to do this, but it's not done. So the implementation is where that 1% fits in. So if you're able to tackle that and do it well and connect the dots by building links and hashtags back to your website through links that you can show up on social media and search engines, it can be a great benefit for you as well. John, if you look at your blogging now, September 25, and look at what it was September 24, or even September 23, with podcasting, it was also part of the mix. Where do you see it now going to September 26th?
So here's the way I look at it. It's when I write a blog article, and there's a distinct difference. I treat the podcast episodes, and I release new episodes twice a week. The blog article is another source of traffic to your website. So make sure it coincides with what you do. But the one tip I would give is make sure it is keyword heavy in the area that you are talking about, your business about, whatever it might be. Same with your podcast. Focus more on what people are searching on and less on you. Because what we're trying to do is we're trying to get from as big an audience as possible, get them consumer content, and from there you start selling them, for lack of better words. So here's where I see the difference is the days of creating, and this has gone a long time ago, but the days of creating a landing page or a website and then not touching again are long gone. Unless you have the money to pay for marketing on social media, Google AdWords, all those other things, you're going to fail. If you're not putting new content up there and you're not focusing on that content that people are looking for, you're going to fail. Blogging is a way, and there's a little power to it. I know Rocky left, but what I do, and I just I'm doing a LinkedIn article right now for an episode of the podcast I released yesterday. I took about 5 paragraphs of that thing. I went to ChatGPT and I said, rewrite this in ChatGPT, and I'll give you the exact words. Rewrite this as a LinkedIn article with these SEO optimized keywords, which they'll provide. Law enforcement, career transitions, police trauma, policing myths, officer wellness. In the third person with quotes and a cliffhanger, read more URL at the end. Only about 5 paragraphs, not the whole thing because it's space reliant. So I'm treating that as a blog article, another source of traffic. And I know that's not a direct answer to Favor's question, but if you're not doing, I'll close on this. If you're not doing this, your competition is. And that's the reason why you're losing.
That is deep. Thank you for highlighting that point, because we have an opportunity to grow and actually be at the top of a search engine that would give us what we are looking for. Because at the end of the day, the ROI of blogging is to earn value. Where you're earning value online as an authority that is talking about a specific topic that someone can read. Now, someone may not read it, but someone that is reading it will understand it, that actually finds it. And another good thing too about reading or even writing in itself is that when you write content on websites, those articles are going to be seen as pages. And those are going to be links that will germinate over time, because now you're building interest in different topics people are finding. And because you have things like podcasts or books or other supplementary things outside of just blogging or writing to help you, you could be on LinkedIn heavy, you could be a YouTube subscriber, or you could even be a YouTube channel owner. Whatever the case may be, you're using social platforms to build community, and then you're using your website to gain relevance. So when you're gaining relevance in your brand, in your market, people are finding you because of the market share. If you know that most people are typing or asking this question and you write about this topic, you're going to show up for that thing. The thing about organic is that you get what you get because of what you give. It's very honest. It's very straightforward, because organically, if you're writing content for the right person will find your content. So if you're doing these things consistently, your content is going to really stand far large and higher than others, because you're showing up for the information that they're finding relevant or actually searching for, because you probably raised the topic or they found it in their industry and they found you. Some people come to me and say they found me through Pinterest, or they found me through searching for information about Pinterest on a podcast, and that's how they found me. Or they would talk about SEO and they found me because of digital marketing. or podcast or how to start a show. These are different things that have different queries. So how do you plan for all of them? These are things that you have to think about. So when you start creating content, it's a great thing. I mean, think about it this way. What's the ROI of blogging? Imagine if you were featured on a magazine. That's a blog. Essentially, it's a blog on a website. So that's something that it may be an article, you might call it an interview, you might call it a feature, you might call it an edition, a tabloid, whatever you want to call it. It's a blog. It's a page. If you scrape out all the terminologies, it's a link. So if this is a link that has your name on it, that has your brand on it, that has your business on it, then that's something for you to also see. Because if you're featured on a magazine, you should also create a website page on your page within your website to talk about where you got featured. If you got featured on Forbes magazine, you should write a website page within your blog to say, hey, we got featured on Forbes, and then link the Forbes article to your website, and vice versa, because they already linked back to you, so you should link back to them. It's a bridge. It's a complete cycle. So if you're able to do that consistently, it's going to help your business grow and give you a much longer standing operation as a business, because the questions people are asking you, you're already answering them. And the more answers you give, the less questions people ask. And the less questions people ask, the more people trust you, because you keep showing up and giving value. So the exchange is really depending on how you're able to do it. Create an episode, record something, take it to Notebook LM, turn it into an FAQ, put it out there, let people see it. And then you've talked about it for the day and you move on to the next topic. You don't have to regurgitate the topic. Just say it differently, but use more emphasis so that people understand the context of why you said it first. So that's the ROI of blogging. If you have any questions, put it in the chat before we go so I can answer your questions right now. John, what would you say is your biggest takeaway from blogging, and where do you see it going for you right now as a business online?
So, and can come off rather rude. Right now, I want you to realize that there are 10-year-olds in Armenia who don't even speak English that are kicking your you-know-whats, using social media, using digital presence, using all that stuff with a minimum amount of money. But what it boils down to is putting in the work, if you don't create the content to put up, you're eventually going to get swallowed up. You're going to get passed by. And you're going to lose this thing that all advertisers strive for, is top of mind awareness. So when someone needs your brand, they want you to think of your brand. If you're not putting content up there, whether it be blog posts, podcast episodes, whether you treat as blogs, if you're not on LinkedIn, you're not doing all these other things social media wise, you got to ask yourself a simple question. If not you, then who? Because trust me, someone is. And if not now, then when? So if you're not putting up the content, you're not doing the work, you're not going to get results. I wish there was another way to say it. This is not winning the lottery. This is where you give $2 and all of a sudden you win, $37 million. It's not like that. Some people do, but if I want to make something happen, I got to work.
That's true. No, there's no shortcut. You just have to do the work. Either someone does it for you or you do it yourself. There's no shortcut, but you can definitely get to that point and really do it well. Rocky, welcome back. We're about to leave. What are your thoughts on the topic, and what's coming to your mind now when you look at the ROI of blogging for your business long term?
That I still don't like it. But it was a good takeaway knowing that I could transcribe it. Now, I use Descript as well, but using AI to sort out the important points, I think, is what kind of hit me. And then I'm real big on, and I've always been this way, but it's the truth. Again, I have to keep shouting John out when it comes to Facebook, because what I learned is the quantity matters. So that was the question I was going to ask before I left. I went to drop off my books at my old job. That's what I was doing. But do you think, what isn't okay, let me rephrase this properly. Growth hacking, right? So I know on Threads, my income has increased because I post at least 20 times a day. So in terms of blogging, pushing out a lot of content that way, all in one sitting, daily, is that something that works, or is it different when it comes to blogging, when it comes to reach and searchability?
Oh, Rocky, that's a great question. Threads is so underrated because Threads now from your desktop, and they did this a couple of months ago, so it's been there. You can embed your threads into your website, just like you can embed a YouTube video thumbnail into your website for someone to watch off your page. So my question now to you is, those 20 posts you have, or those 20 threads in the day, are they the same thing related, or are they different topics simultaneously?
All of them are related to some point. All of them are under my content pillars. So making money, women, content creators after 40, all related to marketing, the marketing need.
Okay, so if they're all related, then they could all show up under one link on your website.
Okay. Can I do blogs that way? Can I push out 5 blogs a day, 5 blogs the next day, 5 blogs the next day, and get better traction because of the quantity, or is it more about what's inside of the blog?
Oh, I see. Oh, okay, that's different. Okay, so in that case, if you do 5 a day, yes, you can always do as much as you want because it's your house, it's your property, it's your website. The more you put out, there are actually companies that put out 10 blogs a day times 7. That's 70 blogs a week times 52 weeks in a year. Just think about that. That's a lot of blogs, and people do that. Canva is a great example. ClickUp is a great example. Those websites, if you look at those websites they're deep into blogging because they had to tell you about their product, how it works, how to use this, how to use that. And that's how they grew, because they have a tool. So the more blogs you write on your website, the more, and don't just write it because you have to write a blog, but structure it so that the blog makes sense and you can always come back to make those edits. So it's kind of like you're creating pillar posts, like you said, but now you're putting those website links on your website. So if someone looks for you on Threads, they can even find your threads on your page. So 5 blogs a day there's no rules, there's no cap. It just depends on how you want to structure your time. And if you can do it once a week, great. If you can do it once a month, great. But if you're doing consistently, the more you do it, the better it gets for you, because what you're doing essentially, technically, is you're logging in a file into the system. So whenever you write an article, the first time you publish it, it has a date published stamp. It has a date stamp. So, and date is day and time evaluation. So if you look at the day and the time, and you look at the back end of that link, if you, let's say you go to and inspect the element, or you even go to there's a detailed SEO extension, Chrome extension you can use. There's a purple D. And when you click on it, there's a section that says schema. So it tells you when this article was first published and when it was last updated. So when you first published a post on let's say on a blog, Rocky, and you publish it and it's connected to Google, what happens is that all those blogs are going to be logged in. Now, here's the thing. There's something called a crawl budget. So this is the caveat. There's a crawl budget. So even if you do 5 a day, or let's say you do 20 a day, that's great. On your website, on Google Search Console, you can only have 10 quotas per day. In other words, you can only submit 10 links per day, and then you have to wait for 24 hours for you to submit another 24 or another 10 in the next 24 hours. So that technically means if you had 10 blogs you wrote today and you published all 10 on your website within different times, so let's say 9:53, then 9:57, and then 10:03, and then 10:20, it keeps going up like that, and it goes up to 10. All those are going to be logged in based on the actual time you hit that publish. Because when you hit publish, it's kind of like locking in a key. So when you lock in that key, it's telling you exactly the time if it was at this time. It's not even just 10:23. It's like 10:23, 8 seconds. So they're looking at the time in form of the hours, the minutes, the seconds, and the milliseconds. So when you're looking at that and you're creating this content over time, the more you create content, the more you become relevant, because it's like the more I keep talking, the more you keep hearing. So the more you keep posting, the more people keep seeing you. So that's the effect, the cause and effect of those things. Does that help the question, Rocky?
Yes, it does. I was playing around with something, so I don't know. You know, I'm a hacker, so I'm like trying to I'll just put it out there. Don't take my idea though. Um, I'm thinking all these replays I've had on Clubhouse from 2020 when I first joined, turning those into blog posts, getting the audio, transcribing it like you said, and then creating those as blog posts. Because why should I have to recreate them all over again? Now the question is, I'm trying to download them and they look crazy. So how do you download the replays from Clubhouse to do that?
That's a great thing. You can do that if you started the room. You can go to your house, then you hit the top three dots on the right. Like for this one, I'll hit Marketing Club, hit the top three dots, and then to say house settings, you'll say listen to replays. Then when you click listen to replays, there are going to be three dots on the right side. When you click on those three dots, it's going to tell you can download the audio. So if you have a Mac, I don't know for others who have a PC how to work, but there's an extension I can give you. So if you have a Mac, then what you can do is airdrop when it says download from your phone, because most times people are using their phone. You can now airdrop the link from, and that's what I do. I'll airdrop the replay. It will say download audio, and then it will say, how do you want to save it? Do you want to share, copy, save to files? You click airdrop. When you airdrop it from your phone to your computer. Now it's going to show up on your computer as a QuickTime audio file. Now you can take that audio file and then clip it, do what you want with it, and now that's an MP3 you can now take into your production, because I use Adobe Audition for production. So I'll take it into my Adobe
But what
Audition.
if you don't have a MacBook? 'Cause I
If you
know
don't, if you don't, if you don't have a MacBook, another option is you can download the audio, but it's going to come in the form of a text file, a TXT file. So you now copy that file, and then when you go to your PC, there's a section called Notepad or TextPad. You know, the back in the day kind of text pads. So it will give you a very long link. So you copy that link and then you paste that link into your browser, and then that's how you're able to download. It sounds far, but it sounds like a lot, but that's what you'd have to do if you get the replay from Clubhouse, if you use your phone.
Yeah, because that's what I just did. I tried to save the file, and I'm like, what the hell is this? So you're saying put that whole text into the browser link?
Yeah, and that would turn
Oh
would turn into a link you can download.
So what do you think of that idea? Because I just gave y'all some thoughts if you did Clubhouse rooms. Because I'm like, that's the quickest way I can think of to get traffic. You know what I'm saying?
It's the best way.
Super duper
That's what
fast.
I'm doing, and it's working. So, and it saves you time, because blogging is talking on text. But if you're able to text faster by talking more, then you're able to type faster. I mean, it just makes sense, and it's a no-brainer for me, and it's been working, and it should work for you too. But I'll show you how to work it, Rocky.
Yeah. So these two are my favorite because, John, the next question I have is, let me get those replays and just slap them on my podcast so that way I don't have to do my podcast all over again. Because if anything, I'm not consistent on podcasting or blogging. So like taking my Clubhouse replays and then editing them, I guess, and then posting them on the podcast. What are your thoughts?
I think it's a great idea. It's about maximizing the content you've already created and getting in front of an audience. So, an episode of the podcast that you're going to have from your Clubhouse room you did, if you title it the right way, this is about how to work from home and make $1 million. I don't care what it is. As an example, you can get in front of people that are searching, and you're not going to be using a lot of your time. So the one thing that we all have, and this is one of the hardest lessons I've learned, and it took getting older to realize this, that one commodity we all have, we can't create more of, we can't replace, is time. You can create more money, you can earn more money, but you can't add more time to your life. When you waste time, it's gone. So taking what you've got, taking your Clubhouse content that you put a lot of effort into, and you did a great job, by the way, Rocky, you can reformat that and then put it up as a podcast episode. Treat that podcast episode like a blog and then kill two birds with one stone.
Now watch this. I got the mad scientist laugh. Now I'm going to do a blog and add the podcast to my blog and then create a loop of traffic.
That's what's happening. Yeah, I'm doing that right now. Yeah, it changes everything. That's the sauce. That is the sauce. So if you do it that way, it's going to be a great gain for you. So I'm excited, definitely looking forward to it, and please try these things out for yourself as well. So I'm glad we covered this today, and I'm so happy that we did this on a Thursday, and I'm glad we were able to spend some time today. I got some meetings to catch up on right now. In fact, it's so interesting. I'll just say this before I go. We use HoneyBook for business, and HoneyBook has now opened a section where you can actually meet other HoneyBook users and do business to business. So I'm about to get on my first call with someone from HoneyBook business that owns a business in their own business industry. So definitely listen to the replay. Let's connect. I'll be here again tomorrow. Yeah, Eli, it was, or Ellie, please forgive me if I said I'm wrong, but definitely listen to the replay. There's a lot of information here, and I'll be back again tomorrow. We cover so many things in this room, and I look forward to seeing you all here. So thank you, Rocky, for being here. John, Soma, Amanda, appreciate you. Margie, hope I said it correctly. Karma, Sharon, Miss Coco, No Carbs, Ellie, Shay, Pimpy, Elsa, and Tanya. Thank you all so much for being here. I hope you have a blessed and wonderful day, and I'm going to see you guys tomorrow. Happy Thursday. Now, that was an episode, right? Thank you so much for listening to the We Don't Play podcast show. I'm so glad that you're here and you are sticking tight with us, especially to the very end. Now, this is season 11 and we're going to do it differently. And I want to make sure that every episode you listen to has something to give back so that you can also learn more after you listen. Now, We Don't Play podcast show is where you listen, you live, you learn, and you earn. So if you're in any of those positions out of those 4, please make sure that you reach out to me. Send out an email through info@playinc.online. That's info@playinc.online. Or you could go to playinc.online, which is a website, www.playinc.online, playinc.online, and schedule a call so that we can get you on an SEO discovery call to talk about your business and help you with your marketing needs. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope this helped you. See you in the next episode. God bless you. Jesus loves you.